are going to call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Anderson, B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deere, Dorn, Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Ann said she's asking her to join and she clicked on it, but it's just spinning. I asked her to just take the phone.
Waiting for a couple other members that are trying to get logged in. It's not letting them join yet.
She may decide to call in. You have an option where you can call in.
We'll go ahead. We'll go ahead and start. Go
Yeah.
with the consent agenda items.
On the consent agenda item, I'm going to go over some financial information with you. First and foremost, I just want to point out that even though we're going through a pandemic in Illinois right now, the evidence-based funding and the state aid monies are still flowing. So we are still receiving those payments. They're coming in. I also had Heather include the FRIZ payments that we are behind. And it's a little bit better this month because we did receive a payment last month. And right now we're at $125,483.75. $125,483.75 that the state is still behind in FRIZ payments. You can see some of that is on special education, a little bit on state free lunch and breakfast, a little on driver education. The biggest portion of this, though, is the transportation, regular and vocational, and the special education component of transportation as well. The cafeteria report, I would point out that for the month of April, we did end up in the red at $18,022.79, and we are still in the red for the fiscal year at $33,796.92. I would point out that with these lunch programs that we're now, with all these meals that we've been delivering, that is going under the summer food service program. So those reimbursement rates on those particular meals are a little bit higher. It'll be reflected in the cafeteria report next month. We did get a payment back on Friday of last week for $33,851.61. Again, that's not reflected in this cafeteria report. I would say that it may be a little bit difficult to be in the black during the month of May, because the month of May is one of those months where we do have 3 payrolls for the month. So we will monitor that very closely. We also, too, if you take a look, and it's about $9,000 less for lunch sales to pupils that was not on the month of April because we had no students in attendance during the month of April. Also, too, I would point out that we've also been refunding some monies to families who have paid in advance and are no longer going to be using those meals for the entire year. So we've had some requests with that as well. So that is the cafeteria report for the month of April. We had 0 FOIA requests between the last meeting and this meeting.
So we have board member Anderson and Deere that are trying to get logged in, so. Ann, are you on now?
Yes, I'm on by phone.
And
I couldn't get the
Val's on.
computer to work. It wouldn't let me in,
Right
so.
corner.
Okay, just checking to see who all
Somebody
at
with
this
it.
point.
That looked like Kevin Hyde.
This is Kyle. I'm in. This is Kyle. I'm in.
Okay, looks like.
Maybe you might want to ask and see if any of those other members are here, and you could write down.
I,
Okay, this is-
I can hear you, Kyle. Can you guys hear Kyle?
Kyle
Yeah, I can hear
Anderson?
Kyle and Ann both.
Kyle, if you're on-
Yeah, they've, there's there a chat function on this because they've lost connection with us. I found it.
It looks like Kyle's muted.
Yeah, I'm here.
Technical difficulties.
There is a
They
chat
can't hear us.
Note that they're trying to join the meeting at 6:35. No visitors, teachers, or support staff considerations. Okay,
Thank you.
We'll need a motion to approve the consent.
Thank you.
Craig, are you on?
Is Craig on?
Yes, I am.
Craig and others, I don't think they can hear us.
Yes.
I've chatted them. Looks like Casey's chatted them. James.
Member Deere on?
What?
Okay, well. another member-
Are those of you in the boardroom able to see the chat window?
So I need at this point a motion to approve the consent agenda, inclusive of payable totaling $46,042.24 and payroll totaling
I don't think they can see the chat window.
$69.85 for total payables and payroll volume $6,112.
Bill, I don't think you can hear or see us. We're talking and you guys aren't responding.
We can hear that.
Yeah, we're all talking to you and none of
Do
the,
I have,
none of
do
it's
I
going
have
through.
two board members, one that can make the motion or to?
Bill, I'll move it.
and
I'll
then
move it,
need
Bill.
another second.
Can you hear me, Bill? I'll move it.
Yes, but not Craig Deere.
We're
I'm here.
20 feet away.
We see Casey, Jeff, Doug. Oh,
Get that thing next to the left. Great.
Hello, Mr. Moon. Okay, so we could see you earlier but not hear you. So you just want to stay online on my phone? But you can hear us.
And James, you're muted to all of us now too. Just make sure they're aware that
I think that
we can all hear each other. We just can't hear the library audience.
And I'm just gonna leave you on the line here, so then you can just, until it comes on. Nicole went to speak.
I can hear you, everybody.
You can speak. Now.
They should just call in on audio.
Can't hear us.
For those of you that can't hear us, number on the invite, and then you'll be able to hear the audio over your mobile device.
Yes, I can hear you. They they can hear us talking.
Yeah, they're muted. And, like I said, the fastest way to deal with it, just so that you're.
How do they do that? Unmute themselves?
There's like a picture of a microphone, correct? And they got to click on that. And then
Can you hear me now, Nicole?
Are they, has everybody unmuted themselves
Can you
before they
type that in the
speak?
chat box to them?
What's that?
How to unmute themselves?
It's not ringing.
It's not allowing you to do it.
Okay, the only
So,
person we need is Craig Deere. Okay,
James,
my
you
voice
might
coming?
let. Yeah, Mark, I can hear you fine. James, you might let them know that I've unmuted multiple times and it's not functioning.
Right. All they can, you can hear them, right? All they can see is Craig at this time.
Doug, James, this is Kyle. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think they've disconnected.
Now I can see the library.
yes,
Where's Scott?
They just have them with their phones, they can, participate.
Can you hear me through the,
Yes.
let's try this. I'm gonna have Nicole do roll call, and those, when you hear us, the roll call, just try and respond, and we'll see who we can hear and who we can't hear.
Anderson,
Yes.
V. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer,
Yes.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon.
yes.
Okay, so we're good on the audio now, so even though you might not be able to see us, hopefully we can the motions and second, we can vote, so. We will go back with, I'll make the action. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda inclusive of payables totaling $246,042.24 and payroll totaling $760,069.85 for a total payables and payroll of $1,006,112.09. Motion, please.
I'll move it.
Can you just, when you make the motion, could you just say your name?
Mark Byers.
And second,
Doug Kirkbride will second.
roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
V. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer,
Yes.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have no visitors, teachers, or support staff considerations. So that brings us to item number 4, the resolution. You want to speak on that, Mr. Byron?
Yeah, the resolution providing for the issue of $1,500,000 in taxable general obligation school bonds, Series 2020, for the district for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to People's Bank and Trust. This will be the last step in the issuance of the working cash bonds. And I'm making the recommendation that you adopt this resolution tonight for the purpose of issuing the general obligation bonds for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district. Kevin Hyde, are you on with us this evening?
Yes, I'm here. I think Mr. Deere needs to make a statement though, and then temporarily exit the meeting.
Yes, I recognize Member Craig Deere at this point.
Yes, I am the Chief Financial Officer of People's Bank and Trust, and I have not participated in the negotiation of these bonds, and I'm going to step away from the meeting while you discuss them.
Okay, so we will see you back on, plug back on in 5 or 10 minutes. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deere. Good evening, folks. We did have a very successful negotiation with the bank there locally. They offered a very fair offer on the bonds, very competitive with what we're seeing other similar type issues. They asked for yields of 1.76, 1.81, and 1.86. Again, these are taxable interest bonds. That allows you to spend the money however you need to, whether that be for a capital item or to supplement your operating budget. And so it's, I think, especially important in this particular time to have that flexibility. The bonds will pay out over a 3-year time period. There will be 2 levies that we call full levies, where you basically have the same tax rate you have now of about 89 cents. And then the third levy is kind of a smaller levy, 54 cents. So I guess 2 years from now, you're going to have a significant drop in your tax rate again. And if there's another need or something you want to do at that point, it would be an opportune time to do that without impacting the tax rate in a couple of years. Happy to answer any questions. I think you probably saw the resolution as prepared by the bond attorneys. So I do have a copy as well. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Do any board members have any questions for Mr. Hyde?
We anticipate closing on June the 4th.
So no questions being heard. I thank you, Mr. Hyde. And at this point, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the resolution providing for the issue of 1,500,000 taxable general obligation school bonds, Series 2020 of the district for the purpose of increasing the working cash fund of the district, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax sufficient to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to People's Bank and Trust. The motion, please.
So moved.
Name, please.
Kyle Anderson.
Thank you. Second.
This is James. I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer, abstain, Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Boone,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hyde, I thank you for your work on this and getting this put together for us. I appreciate that.
Our pleasure. Happy to work with you folks. And I am going to exit your meeting since I have 2 more this evening. So
This is a busy time for you then.
it is indeed, yes. You folks have a good evening. And again, thank you again.
You too,
Okay,
Kevin. Thank you.
thank you. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye. Okay, so that brings us to number 5, the committee reports.
Yeah, the facilities did not meet this
I'll
month.
get Craig back.
Facilities did not meet this month, and for our next meeting, we're still trying to determine our next date for when that will be. The finance committee, we did not meet this month. Our next meeting, we have already set that date, and that'll be on Thursday, August the 13th at 6:30 a.m. That's a Thursday. The curriculum committee did not meet this month, and our next meeting is to be determined there. And then on the policy committee meeting, we did meet back on April the 23rd via a Zoom meeting. And the policy committee, we did not have as many policies this past time in terms of the number, so it did go significantly quicker. We had basically just some minor updates on things, some footnotes, some different law references and things of that nature. So really all we'll need tonight then is just a motion to approve the first reading of the press service policy updates as presented at the policy committee meeting from April 23rd.
And I see Member Deere is back. Do you have anything to add to that? Okay. So I need a motion to approve the first reading of the press service policy updates as presented at the policy committee meeting. Motion, please.
This is Doug Kirkbride. I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second.
This is Mark. I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer,
Yes.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Beemeyer.
Yes.
The Pana Education Foundation did not meet between the last meeting and this one. We do meet again on Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. via Google Meet. Technology, we did not meet this past month, but our next meeting will be Wednesday, October the 14th at 5:30 p.m. Strategic plan did not meet this past month. Next meeting is still to be determined. And then we did have an ideas committee meeting back on April the 22nd. So Dr. Byers, if you have anything you'd like to add from that night or any of the other committee members.
We had quite a bit of discussion, and we started the process of, remember we talked about updating our strategic plan. So we had several conversations around that, and we're getting that process started. The other thing was in the trenches. We talked about moving forward with that. So that is being implemented right now. I think the teachers are putting in their application. Ms. Skinner's got that going, and they will, we will meet again here probably in the next few weeks to approve those so the teachers can order their stuff throughout the summer. Anything else that Kyle or Doug that you have about the meeting then?
No ads from me.
No, I just want to, and I said this in the ideas meeting, and as the state of Illinois' financial situation continues to seemingly worsen, just want to make sure that the finance committee is still okay with that in the budget. In addition to other nice to haves that we have upcoming as well. If we need to start like pinching our pennies because we don't know what we're going to get in the future, and it's just start saving now for money we may need later. And I just want to raise that now and make sure the finance committee is good with it. So I guess that's all.
Yes, we had some discussion around that, and I think myself and maybe the majority, we feel that some of the stuff that we've implemented, this is one of those things that have been very positive, and for at least this next year, we didn't want to really change that in any way. Teachers, I know they've emailed myself and Doug, a couple of them, thanking us for moving forward and continuing with this, even though it wasn't at the same level. So I think as far as the morale and culture and everything, it's definitely a boost for our district and for our teachers. So I'd hate to see us go away from that at this point, but that's a point well taken. And I do think that this, the way things are going, that we definitely have to be fiscally responsible. So good point, Kyle. Any other members have any comments on that? They can express those at this time. Hearing none, we will move on then with the administrative reports. So that brings us to, we asked Ms. Adam to join us to talk about the graduation and how that process has been going. I know she's been very busy, and I thank her for all her efforts in going through and trying to jump through the hoops that she's had to jump through. So she's going to update us. Everybody should have also received an email from her explaining or giving you that letter that went out to all of the parents, the graduating class. I would ask her to do that because some of us didn't have that letter and we were getting questions about the graduation. So Ms. Adam, can you hear us? And we'll let you go ahead and update us on the graduation.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Yes.
Okay. So things are going well. We've got the stage set up because Friday the valedictorian, salutatorian, and the other pre-recorded bits of the ceremony are going to be recorded on Friday. So we're amping up for that. Students came today, senior students were supposed to come today and drop off their textbooks and pick up their locker contents and all of that. So as each one, I did all of that personally myself today and tried to touch base with every senior that showed up and made sure if they had any questions that I, answered them for them at that time. And if they had any questions, I tried to just give them a little summary recap of what's going to happen whenever they arrive on campus the day of June 5th, which is the the rescheduled time for graduation. So for just a brief summary for the record, for whoever needs it, when students arrive on campus, they are going to arrive at that north parking lot and kind of progress through a series of stations. There's outside stations and there's inside stations. So they'll start in that north parking lot and they'll transition to the bus exchange, and eventually their vehicle that they arrive in will enter the Circle Drive. All of the vehicles that arrive to the Circle Drive are the students and their families that are going to be moving through the inside stations. So there will be no graduate and family that's even in the same room of the high school as another student and their family, with the protocols we have set up. So each student was assigned a window of time based on their last name, with kind of wiggle room on either end. And the day of their ceremony, we're going to use Mrs. Patton's Remind app, which has been a highly effective communication tool in real time to let the students know about any updates to our timeline, as far as if we're moving ahead or if we're running behind, because we really tried to come up with our best guess as to how long it was going to take these students to walk across the stage individually. But you know, it's an educated guess, but it's a guess. So we're going to do our best to keep the flow of traffic moving. So after the students walk across the stage and they receive any awards that they may have been given, or if they earned a scholarship, that will also be announced at that time. They will then transition into the small gym, where they will have their photograph taken by our professional photographer. Um, the remaining board members that aren't on the stage, which I believe it's going to be Dr. Byers and Mr. Kirkbride, will be with me on the stage, and then the other board members will be in the small gym. So it'll be, you know, if you guys can kind of help me, if they're dilly-dallying, just politely shoo them on. So that we can keep things moving. And if you have specific questions about any part of that, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
I have a question about the actual diploma. How will they bring those with them? Or are they going to be laid out on the stage to pick up, or what's that?
So we have two tables. One is a table where they will all be kind of laid out in alphabetical order. And the other is a smaller table sitting right in front of it, that once we know who the next graduate is, which hopefully they're going to come in alphabetical order, but that we kind of have a game plan for if kids show up later. But so whoever's getting ready to walk across the stage, it'll be you guys' job to pull their diploma and have it sitting on the table, so that when they walk by, they can grab it.
Okay.
There's a separate table that's designated for them for their diploma.
Okay, thank you. And the parents will just walk in front of the stage and go to the when they exit off the other side of the stage and meet up with them again.
Yeah, I mean, we will have chairs in case somebody needs to sit for a moment, or they have mobility issues. We're also planning on having, we have a couple of in-house wheelchairs that I told Mr. Eddie, you know, if anyone uses these, then they will have to be sanitized in between uses. I imagine that it would be rare if anyone would use them, but we do plan to have those on hand just in case. I have also spoken with Mr. Eddie about ensuring that we have two custodians, so that in between graduates, we have handrails on either side of the stage. And as we were kind of walking through practicing what all logistically this was going to look like, it came to our attention that if the girls are wearing heels, they're going to grab onto that handrail, and that's going to be a point of contact. So we're going to have custodians wipe those handrails in between each one that goes up and down the steps as well.
Yeah, and all doors will be open from my understanding, so
They're going to be propped open.
points of contact will be very minimal.
At this point, I can't think of any that they would have.
The other thing Mr. Bauer and I have talked about, as far as you might address, would be the face mask, and it's a requirement for everyone. And
It was in the directions that were sent out. I also tried to reiterate that today as the graduates arrived to drop off textbooks and pick up belongings.
So it's my thinking, and Mr. Bauer had the conversation as far as the district, we need to provide, if somebody doesn't show up with their own, we need to be able to have some available, because I don't think it would be good to have anybody in the building without one at this point, when that's what the recommendation is. So I know, Member Moon, you might jump in here too, but the hospital has donated or made available, I think it was 50. And I think Mr. Bauer has told me that Jeff has been able to obtain another 300. I would be willing to, because I have a source now to be able to donate some also. I think Mr. Bauer said we might have the possibility of 500. We also need to supply all of our employees that are volunteers. And do we have enough volunteers at this point? I think we need.
I believe so. We really are trying to limit the number of staff members even that are present on this day. Because if we can have another body in the gym, we want it to be able to be a family member or someone who's connected to the graduate, just to be as empathetic to them as possible. So we do have a limited number of staff that will be assisting on the day of, and I think most people are providing their own, but to have extras on hand would be good for those people if they need them. But if we did have a supply of those, we could have those at once the students arrive at the Circle Drive, the first step is waiting right outside the exterior door to the main entrance. So that would be a good place to keep those masks and ensure that anybody entering the building had one made available to them if they didn't come with one.
And also wanted, Member Andorn had also graciously volunteered to make some. So that could be another possible source for some masks. I don't know if that's still available, Ann, or not, but she had
It is.
volunteered to do that too, and I thank her for that. So
Yeah, that's very generous. But if there's 500 available, I would think that would be, I mean, mathematically speaking, more than enough.
How many family members are they allowed to bring?
4.
4 besides themselves?
Right.
Okay.
So if we had 500, we would have it covered.
I think
If you would just make sure that they find their way to the high school between now and then.
Where would you want us to bring those? Just to the office?
Main office between 8 and 11, Monday through Friday, with the exception of Memorial Day.
Okay. Anything else you want to add, Ms. Allen?
No, I'm just here to answer any questions that you all may have. I mean, I've shared the documents with you all, and we're moving forward with our plan. So it's just anything that you may have.
Any questions? Any members for Ms. Allen?
This doesn't have to do with graduation, but the awards thing that we usually have in May, is that what's being done with that this year?
So the honors day that we typically hold, we award things like attendance and the departmental awards. Anyone who receives a departmental award and the medallion and all of that for the seniors, those are typically awarded to seniors. Those are also going to be acknowledged during their stage time. So we'll have that stuff pooled and set aside for that individual student. And those would be a part of the items that would be placed on the table when they come by to get their diploma, if they've earned a scholarship, if they've gotten high honors, all of those type of things some of them might end up with a pile of stuff, because a lot of times those students are acknowledged in many ways. So, but as far as some of the individual class awards that are typically given on those days, I had talked to my teachers about they would need to find a way to provide those awards to their students within the confines of their individual courses. So it may be that they had a certificate printed up that is going to be put in their pile of stuff to go home with their locker contents, or it might mean that they have a virtual thing within their class during one of their class meetings. It's really kind of up to the individual teacher if they were giving out one of those type of awards.
So that scholarship night that's usually in mid-May, whatever is given out to be given out that night on June 5th then.
Yes, so when they have their stage time, it would be acknowledged that they were the recipient of this scholarship, and this scholarship, and that would be acknowledged at that time.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
That's all gonna be recorded, so it'll be memorialized for everybody else to view on.
It will be live streamed, and then all of the graduating seniors will get a final compilation of the finished product, because it's going to include the pre-recorded bits edited together, walking across the stage, and then some other special features that we're putting together for the graduates. In addition to that, you're going to start seeing signs go up around the community and business windows for our graduates. You're going to start seeing yard signs pop up. We're doing all we can to acknowledge and to give recognition to those students. It's just, it's been a unique challenge.
Any other questions for Mrs. Adam?
I don't have a question. I just want to say good job. Your plan's well laid out for as difficult as it is. Good job to you and your whole staff. Good work.
Thank you, Kyle.
Absolutely.
Same here, Casey.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
we all appreciate all the hard work everybody is doing, and I'm sure you've only fielded 1 or 2 emails and phone calls on this, Ms. Adam.
I'll plead the fifth on that one.
We appreciate everything you've done. So thank you for joining us at this point. I don't think there's any other questions, so you can go ahead and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you on the 22nd and 5th.
Okay, and those of you who are going to be on the stage, remember to wear the same thing you're going to wear on the 5th.
Oh,
So it will make sense.
yeah, that's one of those TV things.
Don't part your hair on the other side, or
Well, you can get if I don't have my haircut by the 22nd, I can't have it by the 5th then, right?
That's right.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because I would not have thought of that.
Okay, well, if you guys don't need anything else, then I'll bid you adieu.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so it brings us to building and transportations. Mr. Stouter.
Okay, I don't have much this month. I'll start with the high school chiller, the big one. They started work on it today. I look for it to be done by Wednesday at the latest. However, we did purchase a board for the small one that hasn't ran. I think it's probably going on 4 years. But what they're trying to tell me now is this thing may have been hit by lightning. That's the only thing they can come up with why this board is not going to go. The whole computer system is fried. So he's going to give me some information on if we want to try to turn this into our insurance company to see if we can get this covered. I'll see where it goes and just see what we can do with that. But I'm sure they'll want to send their people down there too to look at it, but we'll just see what happens. We don't need it. It's just a backup. And if we need, just depend on the demand for air. So we're good. We'll have the big one going, and we'll look at what's going to happen with the small one in the next few weeks. Really, the only other thing, last board meeting, we discussed replacing the fire panel at the high school. It was for $16,388, and we decided we was going to take that out of life safety funds. So tonight we would just need a motion to have BLDD make that amendment so we can send it to the state and get that okayed.
Any other questions for Mr. Stouter? Okay, hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve the HLS amendment for the high school fire panel. Motion, please.
Doug Kirkbride makes that motion.
Thank you. Second.
As Mark, I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call.
Deer,
Yes.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Donahue is not here.
Mr. Donahue is asking for a motion tonight. Routinely, every year, we approve the Title I District Plan. It now has a new name called the Consolidated Plan. So we would need a motion tonight to approve the Consolidated Plan for school year 2020, 2021.
I ask for a motion to approve the consolidated plan for 2020 to 2021. Motion, please.
This is James, so move.
Second.
Greg Deere, second.
Dorn, second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer.
Yes.
Okay, which now brings us to the superintendent's report.
The personnel recommendations were included in the employment report that was attached. We are approving tonight Lydia Armour as a band teacher, Regina Schaefer as the new second grade teacher at Washington. We do have some resignations, Shelby Bayless from music, Michelle Burris from fourth grade, Leslie Clavin from special ed at the junior high. We are transferring tonight Jennifer Cross from fifth grade to fourth grade at Lincoln, Kathy Jones from student monitor to parapro long distance lab, and Denise Glick from parapro at Lincoln to fifth grade teacher. We do have some resignation of additional job class, Taylor Cothran as a freshman volleyball coach, removal of Tessa Robin as a volunteer, approval at the high school volleyball, and then Taylor wishes to be added as a volunteer for next year for the high school volleyball.
Okay, so I would need a motion to approve the superintendent's personnel recommendations as reviewed and presented. Motion, please.
Bismarck, move.
Second.
Greg Deere, second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer,
Yes.
Dorn.
Yes.
Next up, the sports medicine contract.
Yeah, the Pana Community Hospital Sports Medicine contract. There have been no changes with our sports medicine contract with Pana Community Hospital from last year. We've been pleased with the level of service that we've received from them and how they care for our athletes. We did put in some contingency language though, and we hope this doesn't happen, but in the case that fall sports get canceled, we have been put in there some contingency language that we wouldn't be charged for that fall season. But we are keeping our fingers crossed that when August rolls around, that we'll be able to get back to life as normal and have a normal school year.
Okay, once again, we thank the hospital for doing that and partnering on that for us. So I need a motion to approve the Pana Community Hospital Sports Medicine contract for Pana High School for the 2020-2021 school year. I need a
It's
motion.
Kyle, so moved.
Second.
Doug Kirkbride, seconds.
Thank you. Roll call.
Moon,
Abstain.
Anderson,
Yes.
B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer,
Yes.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride.
Yes.
Okay, number 3 is the Illinois School District Treasurer Bond, working cash bonds. You'll notice that's plural this year and that it says working cash bonds. We still have a little bit left over from the previous working cash bond that we had approved back in 2017. And that dollar amount to continue that existing working cash bond is $185. And then the new working cash bond that we approved earlier tonight, that working cash bond is in the amount of $348. So we'll need a motion tonight to approve the Illinois School Treasurer's bonds, working cash bond for the cost of $185 and $348 each.
I ask for the motion to approve the Illinois School Treasurer's bonds, working cash bonds for a cost of $185 and $348 each. Motion.
This is Doug. Also move.
Thank you. Second.
This is James. I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deer,
Abstain.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon.
Yes.
Okay, presentation of the FY20 tentative amended budget. So we've worked on this pretty diligently over the last month and a half or so. And I'm going to go over with you some of the changes now, but I want you to understand and keep in mind that as we head from now up until the budget hearing, which will be on June the 22nd at 6:15 p.m., we could have some minor tweaks along the way. I'm going to talk a little bit about our three major operating funds: education, transportation, and along with that, the operation and maintenance or building fund. With Fund 10, the education fund, we ended up having a few more revenues than we had expected. Some of that had come from some grant monies that we received. We also had an increase on some interest payments throughout the year because we were getting a very good rate from People's Bank and Trust this past year. But probably the biggest revenue that we got were some additional reimbursements from Mid-State Special Education that was a holdover from the previous fiscal year. So with that being said, originally it was projected that we would be in the black this year by $358,721 in the education fund. It's looking like it'll be more like $742,785 in the black for the education fund, which is now the third fiscal year in a row in which we've been able to be in the black and increase our Fund 10 education fund, which for us is key because with the uncertainty moving forward, with the way that things play out in the state of Illinois, I think we need to be prepared that we may be dipping into some of those reserves over the next couple of fiscal years. But with that being said, though, it has been nice with the evidence-based funding that we have received over the last 3 fiscal years that we've been able to add some more programs and people back into the district, as well as be fiscally conservative and build this fund as well. So we've had the best of both worlds, but understand times may be changing in regards to the education fund. Fund 10 expense, we just really had some additional special education training that came there. The operation and maintenance fund, originally it was projected to be a little bit over 80,000 in the black, and now you're looking at 153,000 in the red. Part of that comes from the fact of GRP expense that we originally didn't factor in at the beginning of this fiscal year because we decided back in the fall that we were going to go ahead and add doors to the junior high project, and we did that, and that's where that additional expense is coming from. But at that time, the board felt that that's something that we needed to move forward with everything that we were doing at the junior high, and we were able to afford that and understand too that we also have been building the operation and maintenance fund over the last couple of years as well. So to dip into a little bit of those reserves really is not a huge issue at this point in time. The operation and maintenance fund is still projected at the end of the fiscal year to be over $1.3 million. So we're still in very good, healthy shape with the building fund in that regards. The transportation fund, I will note though, that we still have this additional payment that is outstanding as revenue in this projected amended budget. And we've talked about before, and I've included you in on some updates over the last month with what everybody's been projecting. That payment may not happen this year. And if that's the case, we may be in the red in the transportation fund. But as you can see right now, the transportation fund is projected to be in the black just over $40,000. But if we miss out on an additional $48,000 in revenue, that could slide into the red very easily. We do have the resolution that we will pass after I present this amended budget, in which we'll be transferring $200,000 from working cash tonight into transportation. And that was originally in our budget to begin with. Along with, if you also look at working cash, there's right around $494,000 or so that went transferred this year from working cash. $294,900 of that went into the operation and maintenance fund to pay for some of our GRP projects, and the other $200,000, of course, has been earmarked for transportation. Overall, though, the state will still consider this a balanced budget because they look at really education, transportation, and the operation and maintenance fund. But understand there could be some tweaks with this between now and next month. I will go more into detail at the budget hearing on June 22nd at 6:15 p.m. With all of the funds and where we're at and how we'll be projected to close. And then when we have the finance committee meeting in August, by that time then we should have some additional concrete information in which we can share with you. But understand that in August, though, those are still unaudited figures because our audit is typically later in the cycle, typically in September. So really what we're doing tonight, we're asking for you guys to approve the tentative amended FY20 budget. And then what will happen after we approve that tonight, we will place that on display in the central office so that the public can come and view that. We'll also put it online as well, so it's in a more convenient place. So if anybody wishes to take a look at it, they can do so at that time. And if they have any questions, they can call the office as well.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to approve the presentation of the tentative amended FY20 budget and place on public display for 30 days. Motion, please.
Greg Deere, so move.
Thank you. Second.
This is Mark. I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call.
B. Byers,
Yes.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deere,
Yes.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Then number 5 is the resolution authorizing the abatement of the working cash fund. And basically what that is, it's a $200,000 transfer from working cash to the transportation fund. And again, I think what this does is highlights even more so now the importance of these working cash bonds that we not only issued back in 2017, but the one that we also issued tonight. Because of the way of the uncertainty is with Illinois and our mandated categorical payments moving forward, we have had to rely on working cash in order to get us through. So again, tonight is another example of that. So I'm asking for a motion tonight to approve the resolution authorizing the abatement of the district's working cash fund.
I need a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the abatement of the district's working cash fund. Motion, please.
This is Doug. I so move.
Thank you. Second.
It's Kyle, second.
Thank you. Roll call.
M. Byers,
Yes.
Deere,
Yes.
Dorn,
Yes.
Kirkbride,
Yes.
Moon,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
B. Byers.
I included for the NPT special education report, again, this will be information only. We approved the minutes that we had from our March board meeting for you guys to review, along with the agenda that we had on the April 22nd meeting. We've been utilizing remote Google Meets or Zoom meetings for these particular meetings as well. We have not been meeting in person. But in our last NPT special education meeting, we've talked about salary increases for next year. We did not take any action on that at this time as we're getting a little bit more information on that, but that'll be something that we look at here at our next meeting, which will be a week from Wednesday on May the 27th. We also took a look at extended school year for people and what that would look like. We've also talked about what remote learning is looking like and the delivery of services right now for our kids with IEPs. So there's just a host of things that we had talked about, really more so on the educational side of things at this point in time. We also did approve our FY20 amended budget so that it would be on display for 30 days, similar to what we did this evening. So we will pass that amended budget next week at our May 27th meeting.
Could you just speak on, now that we're kind of wrapping up a full year of NPT, on just how the process has been as far as how it's come together, the benefits, maybe some things we hadn't thought about, any glitches?
I think anytime you have something brand new for the first time, there's going to be a learning curve throughout the first year. And there's been a lot of that that's going on as we've kind of felt our way through the process. It's not very often that you have 3 school districts that form a brand new special education cooperative. But in terms of how we've been able to deliver services and how we've been able to service kids in a more timely and effective manner, I think that's kind of outweighed some of those things that we've dealt with, some of those little headaches that have kind of gone along the way. But again, it's been a learning process, and we're continuing to put additional things into play moving towards next year that I think should smooth and iron out some things. it's like anything that's brand new. Once you know, have a, you know, some, within our own organization, sometimes we have changes and we have to tweak things in order to make things work better in our own spot. When you have something brand new that gets off the ground for the first time, there's definitely going to be some things that go along with that in terms of, you know, little headaches, little things that come along the way. But we've been pleased overall with what we've seen from our staff and our people and the teachers that we've had, and everybody that's kind of come together with the whole process.
Very good. Any board members have any questions about NPT since we're wrapping up our first year on that? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. There was no need this month for any executive session. So we skip over that one and we'll move to number 8 on communication. Everybody has had a chance to look at those communications that have been forwarded to us or that we get through our email. Any questions on any of those? I don't anticipate any. So number 9, the board member considerations. Mr. Bauer wants to touch a little bit on some future strategic planning sessions and the timing of some of that, along with, because of some of the things that he's going to be doing and going through. I want to turn that over to
Yeah, future strategic planning sessions, when I look at my own personal schedule and things moving forward with what I'm going to have to deal with towards the end of the year, it's looking like probably the month of September or October, probably October, would be best for us to start looking at dates on that. I'm not sure if you want to utilize a Saturday format similar to what we've done in the past, or if you would rather take an evening out during the week. I know sometimes it's difficult of an evening because we have different meetings and things that we have to attend with our jobs and family commitments and things like that. But I would start taking a look at the calendar, maybe the month of October, preferably probably the first 3 weeks of October, and try to avoid that last week of October and see if we can maybe come up with a date. I will try to look at some dates. If you guys right now can say for certain that you would prefer a Saturday format, we can start looking at Saturday dates. Whatever the board prefers.
Saturdays have worked out in the past. Does anybody have any concerns with Saturdays or would prefer to move it to a weeknight? No, we usually run at least a minimum of 3 hours on those. So sometimes they go longer. The last one, I think, actually went about 5 hours. So that would make it a long evening if we did it in the evening. So any comments or suggestions?
I know I'd need to look at some dates and provide some feedback. I know the 10th is a bad day for me, but
Would a Saturday
anyway.
be preferable?
I'm sorry.
Is Saturday still preferable over a weeknight?
That time of year, there's no good ones, honestly.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to be the one to say that.
We will kind of, as it gets a little closer, decide, and maybe we'll come up with a Saturday. My suggestion was that's kind of work for us. So if we can pick a Saturday that works for everybody, we'll do that. If that doesn't work, we might need to try to do an abbreviated meeting during the week. So if there's no other comments on that, we'll let Mr. Bauer kind of start formulating something for a Saturday during that time. The next up is the III conference in Chicago. If that is going to happen, we can't predict that, but I know Nicole has sent out just a heads up on who thinks they would want to go if it's going to happen. So if you could let her know, I know she generally in June puts in for those reservations. And if there's any hotel preference that you guys have, if you like where we were the year before, or if you like the embassy where we were last year, I don't really have a preference. But we're allowed to put in our top 1, 2, and 3 or something. So if you could let Nicole know, she would appreciate that. Anybody have any questions on that for her right now? Okay, hearing none, I will move to other. So that is open to any questions about anything that's been taking place since last month or moving into the future. Anybody have any questions? Okay, hearing none, then I would ask for I will need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This is Doug. Also move.
And a second, please.
This is James. I'll second.
Everybody in favor, aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Thank you, and everybody have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Thank you.
We are adjourned.